Just have your seat like you usually do. We'll just kind of take a moment, check in with our bodies, see how everything's doing. So once you find your nice straight spine, take a moment and really feel your pelvis. So your sit bones, the base of the pelvis connecting down, and just kind of let's start from the ground up as we check in with our body. So feeling maybe ankles, feet, knees, hips, glutes, that whole area. And then go ahead and keep moving your way up, checking in with all your body parts. And then let's start breathing a little slower and deeper. Checking in with thought patterns, emotions, energy level, and then using all of that information to set your intention for your practice today. So bring your palms together in front of your heart. Be very clear about what you need. And then take a deep breath in. Big exhale to the mouth. Relax your arms. Roll your shoulders back a couple of times. And then just like that, we're going to come to standing at the front of the mat. So we're going to be coming into Tadasana first. Just feeling our feet connect down to the floor, allowing the spine to kind of stack and align. Shoulders are relaxed initially. And take one more opportunity to kind of feel into your body from the ground up. And then take a big inhale, reach your arms up, and as you exhale, just fold forward and hang in ragdoll. Make sure your knees are a little bit bent, neck is relaxed, head is heavy. You're just kind of lengthening out as you breathe here. And then go ahead and inhale all the way back up. Exhale, palms together in front of the heart. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, fold all the way forward, fingertips down, and then inhale and look up halfway, and then back down. We're gonna step back with our left foot. Just take a few breaths here in your lunge. We're not gonna be rushing anything. Our emphasis today is really from the navel down or from the feet to the navel. So we're hitting everything in the lower body today. And we're just going to take our time with it. Our lower bodies are often underappreciated. And today we want them to feel appreciated. Drop your left knee down. Let's go ahead and bring the arms up and overhead. Tilt your pelvis back, lift your rib cage a little. Just start to sink your hips forward until you feel that stretch on the front of your left hip. And we want to just really stay with that sensation. So that means you've got to continue to tighten the left glute or the muscles at the base of the left glute so that the front of the left hip will open. Then I'm going to have you bring your left hand down to the mat. Your right hand is literally going to go on the inside of your right knee. Roll to the outside edge of your right foot. Gently apply a little bit of pressure to the inside of your right knee, just until you begin to feel something in your right hip. Let your right knee come back up. And then I want you to go ahead and rise up. Pull your right foot back towards you. Make sure that you're being very mindful of knee issues, by the way. This can be a little tweaky, and if your knee doesn't like it, you should stop. But we're going to keep the right heel flat, put both hands on top of the right thigh, and gently press forward. So what you're getting here is a stretch, the right calf and the right Achilles tendon. That's where you should feel it. If you feel it in your knee, skip this part. Take one more breath here. And then we'll go ahead and extend that right leg all the way out, hands on either side of it. Flex the ankle and toes, of course, and pull your chest forward. Try and get your right knee as straight as possible. So if it's not completely straight, but you're feeling your right hamstring and your right calf, that's fine. But if you're not really feeling anything in the back of the leg, really try and focus on straightening the leg, flexing the foot, and pulling the chest forward. And then from here, we're just gonna take the right knee back to meet the left knee. Wag your tail a moment. Go ahead and take a child's pose because that will lengthen out your glutes. And by the way, you can do it either way, extended or traditional. And then extend your body forward into Sphinx. And you know, this is probably the only pose today I'm going to ask you to really relax your glutes in, because most of them, they're going to be engaged, either contracting or releasing, but right now they're just passive. And then let's move into downward facing dog. Now, I usually tell you guys to pedal your feet if you want to, but today I'm going to ask you to pedal your feet because I want you to. So once you're in down dog, you bend one knee and press the opposite heel down with intention, and you'll feel it in that calf. And then we're going to bend that knee and press the opposite heel down with intention so we can feel it in that calf. Do that a couple more times on each side. And then let both heels press down strongly while you press your hips back. You should feel both calves stretching. And then let's go ahead and step the left foot forward, and we'll hold our lunge on this side for a few breaths, allowing hips to sink. So really, as you're in your lunge here, you want the pelvis to drop down a little bit. You should feel it, in this case, the back of the left thigh, so a little bit in your left hamstring. And if you're trying to straighten your right leg, your back leg, and let the hips drop, you might feel it in the front of the right hip as well. So all of that is good stuff. Anything from the navel down, we're here for it, right? Drop your right knee down. We're going to go ahead and come on up, hands up and overhead. Pelvis tilts and the hips move forward. So again, our whole emphasis right here is front of the right hip. That means you're going to keep your right glute and the muscles around it quite contracted. And then bring your right hand down to the mat. Your left hand literally goes to the inside of the left knee. Roll to the outside edge of your left foot and apply just the right amount of pressure that you feel something in your left hip. Come on up from that. Slide your left heel back towards you quite a ways. So this is that one, if you've got squeaky knees, you're either very gentle or maybe you skip it. You want to keep your left heel flat, hands on top of the left thigh, and you push your left knee forward. What you're trying to do is get this sharp angle at your left ankle and feel it in the left calf, left Achilles tendon. Go ahead and come on out of that fully. Extend your left leg. Hands come down on either side of it. As much as possible, you want your left leg straight. Ankle and toes are flexed. And if you can get all that, perhaps you can lengthen your spine here as well. And then from here, we're just gonna step forward to our standing forward bend. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, palms together in front of the heart. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, look up halfway. And then back down. So this time we're gonna step back with the right foot. Nice big step back. See if you can let the hips sink a little bit lower in your lunge. Maybe straighten the right leg, the back leg a little more. And then drop your right knee down, bring your left hand to the inside of your left foot. And go ahead and see if you can come onto your right forearm or a block. Maybe you can get down onto both forearms. Those of you that are feeling extra spunky today, you are welcome to turn the right toes under and lift that right knee off the ground. Couple of breaths here. And then drop your right knee back down if you lifted it. Come back up onto your hands. Your right hand is going to go back so that it's lined up with your left foot. And here's what I'd like you to do. There's 2 levels of this. You're going to do the level that works for you. First level is left arm just reaches behind you and you look over your left shoulder. If you keep letting your right hip sink, you're feeling this more in your right hip. Those of you that have the capability, you're going to bend your right knee and grab that right foot with your left hand. Keep letting your right hip drop towards the mat. You should feel this in the front of your right thigh, front of the right hip. Release that out and move that back onto hands and knees. Wag your tail. And we'll take that child's pose. And by the way, those of you that are doing traditional vinyasas, you now have my blessing to take off and do them anytime that we move into child's pose. From here, we'll scoot into either Sphinx or Cobra, whatever feels best to you. And then we'll meet up in downward facing dog. Now, as you get to your downward facing dog, really press those hips back. I want you to take your right foot off the ground and put it on top of your left heel. And press your hips back and then push your left heel down towards the mat. You're gonna get an extra yummy calf stretch on the left side. Put the right foot back down, same thing here. Left foot onto the right heel and press it down, but keep pressing your hips back as you do this. Both feet on the mat, and you can step your right foot forward. And just hold your lunge for a moment here. So hopefully just kind of letting hips sink maybe a little deeper than you did the first time in your lunge. Maybe getting that left leg, your back leg, a little straighter. And then we're going to drop the left knee down, bring the right hand to the inside of the right foot. Come onto your left forearm or a block and try and get the right one down as well. If you have both forearms down and you want to go for it, left toes turn under, left knee lifts, but that is optional, not required, just a possibility. Drop your left knee back down if it was off the ground and come back up with your left hand in line with your right foot. Phase 1 is that your right arm simply reaches behind you and you look at it and you let your left hip keep sinking towards the mat. That should be enough of a hip and thigh stretch, but if you want more, you bend your left knee and you grab your left foot with your right hand. You keep letting that left hip drop towards the mat. Maybe you pull on the foot a little bit. Regardless, you should feel it in the top of your left thigh and the left hip. Release that down and step forward to your standing forward bend. Inhale, reach your arms all the way up and overhead. And exhale, bring your palms together in front of your heart. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale and look up halfway. And then exhale, back down. So we're gonna step back with the left foot, spin that left heel flat, and come up into warrior two. And for our warrior two, the first thing I really want you to do is just pay attention to your right hip. So your right knee is bent. I want you to make sure that right where your thigh and your torso connect is really engaged. That means your foot stays where it is, but your right knee is pressing out towards the little toe. Then I want you to really engage your left outer hip. You want to push equally through little toe and big toe side of your left foot. One more breath here. And then keep your legs just like they are. Left hand on left thigh, right arm up and over. Don't back up out of your front knee, your right knee, and don't let it drop in towards the big toe. Take one more breath. And then come up and straighten your right leg, which should feel like a relief. Kick your hips to the left. And I want you to really take your time lengthening your torso out to the right, keeping both legs straight and your spine straight and your torso aligned over your right thigh. So we're in triangle pose, and we're just trying to be really mindful about our alignment, particularly lower body. Bring your left hand down and just take a moment, stretch out over that right leg, nice deep hamstring stretch. And from here, we're gonna step straight to downward facing dog. Once you get your hips pressed up and back, we're gonna do that same calf stretch, except now we're gonna start with the right foot. So your left foot is gonna step on your right heel as you push your hips up and back. Then you put your left foot back down, right foot is gonna step on the left heel, hips still press up and back. Right foot back down, press your hips back, both heels down, and then step forward with your left foot, spin your right heel flat, and come up into warrior two on the left. I want you to do the same thing here, right? We're working those hips. So left outer hip needs to be very engaged. Your knee is pressing towards the little toe, so you feel some tightness and contraction in your left outer hip, and then you're really pressing through your right foot and getting that right outer hip engaged. Take one more breath. And then bring your right hand to your right thigh, left arm up and over, and don't let anything change in the legs. You still have both hips fully engaged, fully energized. Come on back up and straighten your left leg. Yay. Kick your hips to the right, lengthen out. And again, just take your time aligning yourself. So you don't want to lean forward here. You want to be over the left leg. You want to try and keep left side of the spine nice and straight. You want to try and keep both legs nice and straight. And then we'll just bring that right hand down. Take the opportunity to stretch out over our left leg just a little bit. And then from here, step your right foot forward to your standing forward bend. Inhale and reach your arms up. And as you exhale, bring your palms together in front of your heart. So we're going to turn sideways on the mat. I'd like you to take a pretty decent wide step out. Toes point directly forward. So as much as possible, and obviously when I say these things, you listen to your body first. If you need to modify and bend a knee or something, you do you. But if you can, legs are going to stay straight. We're going to hinge at the hips. You can either bring your hands to the mat and bring your head towards the floor, or if you're feeling a little more traditional, you can reach out with the first two fingers and thumb of each hand and grab your big toes. The idea is we're just trying to get our head down towards the floor. It doesn't have to get there. It's just that direction. So in this position, you've got inner thigh and hamstring stretch happening. And then we're going to release the hands and walk them both towards the right foot, keeping that right leg as straight as possible, intensifying that inner thigh and hamstring stretch. Then we're going to walk the hands over to the left foot and do the same thing. Try and keep your legs straight. Then come back to the center. And again, just a quick caution for those of you with knee issues, please be gentle. Your right foot is going to rotate out a little or a lot. It depends upon your knees. You can keep your hands on the floor, kind of walking towards the right foot. Your left toes are going to point at the ceiling. Maybe this is it for you. By the way, right heel should stay flat. Some of you will be able to take your hands off the floor and bring your palms together. Left leg is straight, left toes are pointing up, right heel is flat with the knee bent. And this is going to look different for everybody, so don't worry about what it looks like. If you're feeling a lot of stretch in that left leg, you're doing great. Let's switch sides. So you're just going to start walking your hands over to your left foot, and as you put it down, let it be at an angle so that your knee can follow your toes. As you're bending into your left knee, the right leg is straightening and the toes are rotating up towards the ceiling. Hands can stay down. You want to try and keep left heel flat, right toes pointing up, leg is straight. You just do your best. It doesn't matter what it looks like. One more breath. It's a hard pose. And then bring your hands back to the center. Toe heel your feet in until they're about shoulder width or hip width. And then you're going to literally stand in your hand. So if you put the back of the hand on the floor and your fingertips are pointing at your toe tips, you just lift your foot up and slide your hand underneath. Once you're in the pose, your toes are touching your wrists. Your fingertips are touching the front part of your heel. The ball of the foot is in the palm of the hand. You relax your neck. You start to straighten the legs. Maybe you get them all the way straight. If you do, you start to bend the arms. Take 2 more breaths here. And then release your hands out. Take a huge inhale. Reach the arms up and overhead. And as you exhale, bring your palms together in front of your heart. So we're going to do our standing pigeon for our balance today. You guys have done this with me before. If you need to be near something to hang on to, that's fine. I would remind you, though, that what helps with the stability and the balance is the arms up and overhead. So if you're trying to balance with the arms out to the side, it's actually going to make it harder on this one. Trust me on that. It's like a counterbalance. It's actually easier than it looks. Let's stand on the right foot first. You're going to cross your left ankle over your right knee or thigh. Flex the left ankle. Press your left knee out. That's kind of that figure 4. Arms are up and overhead. You lift your chest. You start poking your tailbone back as you bend your right knee. So basically what you're doing is trying to extend your spine out over your left shin until you feel this in your left glute, your left buttock. Come on up from that. Plant your left foot down and we'll do the other side. So your right ankle is going to cross your left knee. Flex the ankle, press the right knee out. Arms are overhead, the chest is lifting, tailbone is poking back while the left knee bends, and it's as though you're trying to lay your extended torso out over your right shin. You stop when you begin to feel that right glute. And then come on back up. Roll your shoulders back a couple of times. Bring your feet together at the front of the mat. Bring the palms together. And then inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, fold all the way forward. Look up halfway. And then back down. Those of you doing vinyasas, off you go. The rest of us are stepping back onto hands and knees for a little tail wag, a little child's pose. Taking a breath or two in child's pose, feeling our glutes and our backs stretching out. And then we'll scoot into either Sphinx or Cobra, whichever one feels better to you. And then we're all going back to downward facing dog. And so on this down dog, just press your hips way back and press your heels down through the floor. Now, for any of you whose heels are touching the floor, I'm going to ask you to step your feet farther back, even if you're in the right spot. I want your heels to be off the ground so that they have somewhere to go. Really push the heels down until you feel your calves stretch. Some of you will be able to flex your toes and take them off the mat. And then drop to your knees. Give yourself a little tail wag. Good. And then I want you to take your right leg out behind you. You're going to raise your right leg as much as you can, flex the foot and try and straighten it. And when you do that, you're going to feel your right glute really engage. I want you to just hold that. I want you to focus on the glute. Those of you who feel stable enough, from this point, you can bend your right knee and reach back with your left hand to get the right foot and pull the leg up. And if you tilt your pelvis, you'll start to feel it on the front of your right thigh. Bring your right knee back down. Give yourself a little wiggle. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. So we're keeping it simple so that we can keep our focus where it belongs. So your left leg extends. You're going to raise it as high as you can. Flex the foot, straighten the leg, and really lift, lift, lift. You want to feel your left buttock really engaged. And then if you can, you bend the left knee and you reach back with your right hand. You begin to pull the leg up until you feel it on the front of your left thigh. Bring it all back down. Give yourself a tail wag and a final child's pose. Those of you doing vinyasas, it's your last one, so enjoy it. If you're with me, you'll scoot into a final spine lengthening Sphinx. And then downward facing dog. Let's go back to that original pedaling of the feet. Notice if it's a little different now. And then go ahead and walk your feet forward and have a seat in Dandasana. And so just taking a moment to come back into awareness of your pelvis. Activate your legs, of course. Stack your spine. Just kind of take a moment, check in. And then we'll keep the right leg straight. Bring left foot to the inside of the right thigh. Lean out over your right leg. Go ahead and come on up from that. Flex your left ankle, put it on top of your right thigh, just above the knee. Lean out again. Keep your ankle crossed like it is. Bring your hands right behind you. onto the floor. Push into the floor for a very straight spine, and then bend your right knee. So this is plenty. If you're already feeling it in your left glute, you're good. If you can, you scooch up a little bit, straighten the spine even more. If you're feeling particularly flexible in your left hip, you're welcome to grab the right shin and pull the chest higher up and forward. So if your hands are not on the ground, you're going to put them back on the ground. And what we're going to do is scoot the right foot over until it's underneath where the left knee is. So your right foot should not be up by your left bun, it's out. Both ankles stay very flexed for stacked logs. So if you look down, you have a triangular space between the legs, right? You've got ankles and knees vertically stacked on top of each other. Now, if you're here and you're just already suffering, that's all you have to do. Just keep breathing. If you want to try and get things to go a little deeper, you can bring hands in front of the shins, maybe even come onto the forearms, and a couple of you will be flexible enough that if your shins are easily stacked, you'll bring your left tricep to the arch of the left foot and twist. Do the appropriate level for you. If you are not easily stacking your shins, please don't twist. Take a couple more breaths. It can be a little intense for some of us. And then we're not quite done. So now we're going to move into the leg position for Gomukhasana. So what that means is your left knee, the one that's on top, you're going to try and bring it all the way over on top of your right knee. You can scoot your feet back a little bit if you need to. But the idea is to have your knees piled on top of each other. Now, if you have tight hips like I do, my goal right now is just to get that right glute as solid as the left, and I feel a stretch. So I'm going to hang out here. Some of you guys have super happy hips and you're great here. If your shoulders are also happy and you would like to complete the pose, your left arm would reach up and behind you, and your right arm would reach around and behind you, and you would clasp fingers. So you can do that or not, just giving you some options. One more breath. And then all we're going to do is extend the right leg. Let this left foot come completely flat. It's still across the right thigh. And we're going to twist to the left. So a nice deep twist to your left with a straight spine. Keep your left foot really grounded. And unwind. Left leg extends. Find your sit bones. Give both legs a good wiggle. And then we're going to keep the left leg straight. Bring your right foot to the inside of the left thigh. Lean out over your left leg. And then we're going to come up from that, pick the right ankle up, flex it, bring it on top of the left thigh, lean out again. Coming up from that, hands are behind you, pushing into the ground for a straight spine, left knee bends. And maybe that's it. You just keep pushing up for a straight spine. If you feel it in your right glute, you're good. If you would like to, you're welcome to clasp your left shin, but don't hunch around. You use that as leverage to pull and lift the chest and bring it forward and up. So you want to feel it in your right buttock. So if your hands are not on the ground, they go back on it now. And now we go into stacked logs or fire logs on the other side. So your left foot is walking over so that it can be underneath your right knee. Both ankles are flexed. You look down, you have a triangular space in front of you. Your shins are vertically stacked. Even if they're not touching each other, they look from above. They look like they're one straight line. You either stay here, bring your arms in front of your shins, trying to get the forearms down, Or my super flexible friends, you're twisting to the left with your right tricep in the arch of the right foot. Don't skip steps though. So if you're trying to twist and your legs aren't just flopped on top of each other, then you're actually not going to make progress. We have to be humble and stay in our lane. That's why I'm not twisting. Take one more breath here. So if you have tight hips, it's okay. There's no shame in that. It just means we have to work and do the right thing. From stacked logs, we're going to move into the leg position for Gomukhasana. So now we're going to take that right knee and try and vertically stack it on top of the left knee. So this is a really tight crossing of the legs. Again, for those of us that have tighter hips, we're trying to get that right glute as firmly planted as the left and just sit up straight. For those of you who are in it easily and have happy shoulders, this time your right arm would reach up and behind your back like you're touching yourself between your shoulder blades, and the left arm reaches around and you clasp fingers. That's the finished pose. So do what's best for you. Take a couple more breaths. And then from here, we're just going to extend that left leg back out. Make sure the right foot is very flat, still outside that left foot or calf. We're going to twist to the right. Straight spine, right foot very connected to the earth. And unwind. Extend your right leg out. Give both legs a good wiggle. And then hands are right behind the backside. Nice straight spine. From here, bring the soles of the feet together. Wherever they land is where they belong. So don't grab them and pull them in. Wherever they landed, that's where your body says you should work from. So you keep your spine straight. By the way, buns stay on the ground. I've seen a couple of people in person levitate on this one. So keep your buns connected. Knees press out and down towards the ground. It doesn't matter what it looks like, but you should be feeling that same outer hip contraction that I asked you to feel in Warrior Two. Remember where your thigh meets your torso. That should be really contracted. Take one more breath. And then extend your legs into a wide V. Toes point up, feet are flexed. You can keep your hands behind you as you press your chest forward, or you can bring your hands in front of you, or you can do like we did in the standard variation of this. When we were standing, I gave you the option of grabbing your big toes. You're welcome to do that as well. Just try and keep your spine extending forward and your legs very active with your toes pointing up. And come on up from that. Bring your legs together. Give them a good wiggle. From here, finally, you get to roll onto your back. Hug your knees in and rock side to side. We're going to go right into our inversion, which today is bridge pose. And you're going to feel this in your buns today on purpose. So what I'd like you to do is big toes touch, heels separate, and then you're going to be so surprised by this. I want you to go ahead and separate your big toes a little bit. Not a lot. Don't let the big toes wing out to the side. Your feet should be parallel. So don't let this be the excuse you need to really rotate out. But what we're going to do is lift up. So push into your feet and start lifting your hips, whatever that looks like for you. And then here's the deal. I want you to really focus on this. I want you to push very strongly through your heels. Squeeze your knees towards each other. Doesn't matter if they touch. And imagine that your thigh bones are separating, and then press the hips higher. Squeeze the knees a little closer. Imagine the thigh bones moving away from each other. Lift your hips higher. One more time, squeeze, knees together. Really press through your heels. Imagine hip bones separating. And then slowly lower down. You should have felt that in your backside today. Hug your knees into your chest and rock side to side. And then we're gonna keep right knee hugged in. I want you to extend your left leg all the way out onto the ground. Just hug your knee nice and deep. Then I want you to extend your right leg completely straight somewhere in the air. So I don't like to say towards the ceiling, because if you have tight hamstrings, you'll bend your knee to get your leg there. I want your right leg totally straight. Doesn't matter what it's pointing at. Get it completely straight and then grab whatever you can and keep your leg straight. So it could be your pants, your thigh, your ankle, your foot. But you want to try and have your right leg totally straight and then flex the foot. So you're getting an extra little yummy hamstring stretch here. One more breath. And then wherever your left hand is, you're going to keep it there. Your right arm is going to open out to the right. And I'm going to ask you to keep the back of the right hand, the back of the right arm, and the right shoulder blade hugging the ground. Then I'm going to ask you to keep your right leg straight and begin to take it across the body. For those of us with tight hips, it's a small move. You're not trying to get your right leg on the floor. You're trying to feel your right thigh and right hip. So the less movement you can do that with, actually, the better, which means keep your foot flexed, keep your legs straight, and keep everything on the right side of your upper torso flat. And then you won't have to go as far. So no flopping over. Take one more breath. Come on back up, hug your right knee in, give it a good squeeze. And then we're just gonna transition this into an easy twist. Right arm opens out to the right. You're just gonna twist that right leg across you to the left. Those of you that want a deeper twist, you can hook the right toes inside or behind that left knee or thigh. But if you need it to be gentler, just let that right foot flop in front of your left leg. If you need it super gentle, you could actually bend both knees. Head should turn to the right, and you're just starting to relax and breathe a little here. On your next inhale, you're gonna come on back up, hug your right knee in, big squeeze. Bring your left knee up to meet it. Give yourself a good side to side rock. And then extend your right leg all the way out onto the floor and just keep your left knee hugged in. Go ahead and extend your left leg completely straight. Don't worry about which direction it's pointing. Just have it really straight. And then grab whatever you can reach, whether it's your thigh, your calf, your foot, doesn't really matter. Once you've got it, make sure your left knee is really straight and that your foot is flexed. Just keep working on focusing on that. And I promise you, you'll feel your left hamstring. And if you're like me, you'll even feel your left calf. Take a couple more breaths here. Maintain really proper straight leg form. And then wherever your right hand is, we're going to keep it there. We're going to take the left arm out to the left. Same thing. I'm going to ask you to commit to keeping everything on the left side of your upper torso totally flat on the floor. Left leg stays straight, foot stays flexed. You begin to bring that leg across the body. You don't have to go very far. Most of us don't, to feel sensation. So the truth is, I could flop all the way over and I'll feel less, but why would I do that? If you show up to practice, you want to make sure you reap all the benefits, right? So straight leg, flexed foot, only going as far as you need to get that sensation. One more breath. Come on back up. Hug your left knee in. And then we'll transition this into a twist. Left arm out, and you're twisting to the right. And so again, if you want it to be deeper, you hook the left toes behind or inside that right thigh. If you want it to be gentler, just let your left leg flop in front of the thigh. And if you need it to be at its gentlest level, you can bend both knees. On your next inhale, bring that left leg back up, hug it in. Bring your right knee up to meet it, rock side to side. Reach down, grab the outside edges of your feet, and see what you've accomplished in your practice today. So happy baby. Play with straightening and bending the legs. Play with taking them wide and narrow. Don't be afraid to move here. We want to explore and see what we might have shaken loose in our lower body practice today. And you have the opportunity in this pose to really kind of check in with calves, hamstrings, hips, glutes, low back, the whole shebang. Couple more breaths. And then when you feel like you're ready, I'm going to have you put your feet flat on the mat. Knees are bent, ankles and knees are together. We're going to do our legs like butterfly wings today. So it's inner thigh, outer thigh, contraction and release. So as you exhale, your knees drop open like a butterfly opening its wings. And as you inhale, your knees come back together like the butterfly closing its wings up. Just follow your own breath rate, exhaling to open the legs, inhaling to close them. The next time that your legs drop open, allow them to stay there. Let the soles of the feet touch. And then the next time you breathe in, you're going to press your low back into the mat. Just tilt your pelvis back. Keep breathing normally. As you exhale next, release, relax. You'll feel the curve come back into your spine. And one more time, inhale, flatten your back. Exhale and release it and begin to extend your legs out onto the floor. And my suggestion is once you get the feet the distance apart that makes you comfortable, I suggest you do internal, external rotation of the thighs. In other words, roll your knees towards each other and let them drop open. Just kind of wiggle in and out for a moment and then let the legs flop. So you want to make sure that that area between the thighs and the torso where everything connects, where I've asked you to contract a couple times, you want to make sure it's totally relaxed. Then make sure that your buns are soft. You might even want to make sure they're spread across the floor a certain amount so that they're completely relaxed. Low back is long, neck is long, your jaw relaxes, your eyes close, your forehead smooths. And then just take an extra deep breath in through the nose. Big exhale through the mouth. And allow your body to really just settle into Shavasana. As you feel your breath slowing down and softening, I want you to just feel into your body. And what I'd like you to do is make absolutely sure that your legs, your arms, your neck, and your head are totally relaxed. If you feel any energy anywhere in your body, it should be in the torso. Everything else is just completely passive. And then really begin to feel into your lower body. Feel your feet, the soles of the feet, the tops of the feet. Feel your ankles. Feel your calves and your shins. Feel your knees. Feel the thighs. Feel your glutes and the sides of the hips and the lower abdomen and the front of the hips. So really from the bottoms of your feet all the way up to your navel, you want to just kind of check in with that. And then check in with everything above the navel. Check in with your stomach and your low back. Check in with your rib cage, your chest, your upper back. Check in with your shoulders, your arms, your hands, your neck, your head. And now feel your whole body all at once, everything. And just notice how it feels. So a lot of us carry tension in the hips or stress in the hips. And when we release that, it's like it sets the whole body free. So just notice if that feels true for you today. And if it doesn't, that's okay. Maybe it just means you don't have stress right now, or that there is no tension in your lower body. And then start to breathe a little deeper. Start to move your fingers and toes. When you're ready, take that deeper breath in, spread your fingers and toes, and exhale and relax them. Even deeper breath in as you stretch through arms and legs, lengthen your body out, and then again, exhale and relax. Bend your knees, hug them in if you like. Roll to your right side, and then press yourself up into sitting. As you come to your seated position and you connect the base of your pelvis down and you stack the vertebrae of your spine vertically so that you feel aligned, notice how your hips feel here. Was it easier to come into this seated posture? Is it easier to feel connected down through the base of your pelvis? You've shaken some things loose and you've brought a lot more life force into this area of your body. So just notice if it feels different. And then take the opportunity to check in again with your body, your breath, your mind, your heart, your energy, and see what, if anything, might have changed. So for our pranayama today, for our breath work, we're just gonna go back to basics. We're gonna do a really simple 1-to-2 ratio breath. That means your exhale is twice as long as your inhale. All through the nose, of course, unless you cannot breathe through your nose today. And what I'd like for you to do is find your edge today. Every day it's different. So you start, you do a breath. Maybe you do a 4-second inhale and an 8-second exhale. And if that feels easy, then the next breath is a 5-second inhale and a 10-second exhale. And if that feels easy, so you keep going up until you hit the point where it feels like it's a struggle, and then you back it down by 1. And that's where you should be doing your breath work. And every day it's a little bit different, right? So I want you to just play with finding your edge today. 1-2 ratio breathing all through the nose. Let's all take a deep breath in together. Exhale completely together. And now you're on your own. Finish out the breath that you're on. And then just allow your breath to return to normal. And I want you to just sit with this for a moment. Noticing how you feel, trying to stay out of thought patterns. Try not to get involved in your thoughts. Just notice how you feel here. And then go ahead and bring your palms together in front of your heart. Let's take a moment in gratitude. Gratitude that we have these amazing bodies to live in. Gratitude for the breath that animates these bodies that we live in. Gratitude for that part of us that knows, that self-awareness, the part of us that knows about our body and knows about our breath and even knows about our thoughts. Take one more huge inhale through the nose. Big sigh. Bringing palms together at the forehead, we're reminded to stay present. Bringing palms together in front of the mouth, we're reminded to speak our truth. Bringing palms together in front of the heart, we're reminded to keep our hearts open. To always come from a place of kindness, compassion, and love. Thank you for joining me today. Namaste. Thank you guys so much. Always a pleasure to practice with you. I hope you have a fantastic afternoon. I'm still undecided about what's going to happen about Saturday. The weather continues to change. Every day that I look at it, it's different. So there may be a pop-up in the park this Saturday. They may not. I probably won't make a decision until sometime tomorrow. So if you're interested in that, check your email or social media. Otherwise, have a fantastic weekend, you guys. Bye.